Oh, good news! Is this the new Megane? That's the Megane GT, okay? This is not the Megane RS, okay? But the Megane GT. Now look at the new styling design of Renault. That's their new family language design, and this headlamp that sort of, drips down here. It's a form of design. Nevertheless, they were never bad looking. Now it's just slightly busier. Okay, look at the front. That's the channel air through the wheel hubs. Now, even it's not just the supercars who does all this, right? Now even the more pedestrian, more passenger cars, they're doing this as well. Now, what do they call this? The GT. So this is one step below the RS. 1.6 liter turbo, 205 horsepower, 280 Newton meters of torque. So it's also front wheel drive, but it gets rear wheel steer. Rear wheel steering, let me tell you this, I've driven the Panamera, I've driven the Cayenne. Rear wheel steering is magical. It makes the car feel super duper nimble. It effectively allows you to design a car with a longer wheelbase but behaves like a shorter wheelbase car. So that is rear wheel steering. So if you do not understand what rear wheel steering does, imagine this thing. Now that this is the front wheels, if you're going slow, you are turning right, the rear wheels actually will turn slightly left. So what it does is that it makes a sort of a curvature. Front wheel pointing here, rear wheel pointing here, so it's a curvature that makes the car rotate. Alright, now if you're on the highway, you're driving fast, your front wheels will be putting here a bit, your rear wheels will follow. What that does is that it allows your car to effectively skid across instead of like that. Right? So that's rear wheel steering. That is a good thing to have in this segment. So again, like European cars, they always manage to get less legroom than what their wheelbase suggested. So if I come in here, it is pretty tight actually for a car of this size. This is about the size of the Honda Civic Type R, which is a 5-door hatch as well, but it is evidently less spacious inside here. My feet barely slots into the bottom of the front seats, and then yeah, I would say for two person at the back, it's alright. I get a little bit of headroom, I get some knee room left, but overall shoulder room and all that is just alright. The Europeans, they don't really need like huge cars. I mean, so they are always okay with more compact cars, especially the French. And you look at the French and Italians, right? Their roads are really tight, so they don't really appreciate cars like the Lexus ES, which is like huge. Okay, so yeah, this is the interior. You have some ambient lighting over here, some garnish. Materials are alright. These are not the... Yeah, it's okay. It's not the scratchy plastic that Nissan uses. So, or let's whisper, Mercedes S-Class. They use the scratchy plastic here. Okay, let's go to the front. Oh, I already don't really like the design looking from the back here. Let's go to the front and have a look. See, 4 control over here. So 4 control means 4-wheel steer. Let's step in here to the front seats. One thing I really like about Renaults are the driving position, the steering. Holy moly, look at the paddle shifters. This looks straight out of Sunway. Wow, some proper nice material. It feels metal. It feels metal. It's definitely metal. And look at the really sporty digital speedo or revo counter. All right. This is, you know what this looks like? This looks like the one from the Honda Civic FD, but the FD they place it here, right? Or here. So now you see, they reduce the size of the handbrake lever. Okay, so that it doesn't occupy as much space, and they have to do an indentation here just for your hands. You see that? Just in case. This to me, right, is unnecessary engineering. This is engineering that doesn't give any tangible benefit, because here you block off the cup holders. That means it's not a flexible space anymore, and you limit the size of the cups that can be placed here. I believe if you go to Starbucks and order a large one, it won't fit in here. So when you do the handbrake lever like that, but you don't make use of the space that was liberated from the design of the handbrake, then why do you bother it at the first place? You should have just made a normal handbrake lever, and maybe you can leave this space just wide open so that it's usable. But now I see a lot of, yeah. So that's how it is. So yeah, let's look at the other things. Like all French cars, their fuse box is over there, so you get a very small glove box, okay? From one look, I can tell that the door pockets can put a large bottle, alright? Audi started this kind of molding design, so everyone is doing it as well. I really do not like the design of this. I really, honestly, really do not like the design. I expect more from the French actually, because they should be the ones. Oh, interesting. These are touch sensitive, but they are not on the screen. They are on the panel itself, but it was made touch sensitive. And then these are actual buttons, and there is a little kink here to let your hands feel that this is what it is. And then this is, wow, so behind the plastic they did something like that. You know what, the person who designed this, he needs to be fired, because it just doesn't make sense. It's technology for the sake of technology, and the buttons don't feel tactile as well. You have such a big space for you to make big buttons. Why do you limit it that way? And yeah, this is a bit disappointing. Anyway, there are two USB ports here. I like this compartment. It's rubberized. The gear lever feels okay. The car is not started now, it's locked now. And then you have a 12-volt charger there. Up here you don't get a sunglass holder. Ladies might not like it, so that's a sun visor. Everything else feels rather okay in terms of build material and quality. I like the steering wheel a lot. I like the pedal shifters. Okay, I do not like the pedal shifters anymore because it's mounted on the column. Only those motoring journalists that pretends to be F1 drivers will tell you that it should be mounted on the column. No, it should be mounted on the steering wheel. Because why? Let me explain. Now cars are fitted with dual clutch. Okay, let me explain further why there are people who claim that the pedal shifter shouldn't be mounted on the steering wheel and should be mounted on the column, because they say that you shouldn't be switching gears halfway through a turn in racing, because in racing if you switch a gear halfway through a turn, you're gonna unsettle the car. So that is the logic behind column mounted pedal shifters versus steering mounted pedal shifters. What they are saying is that your steering has to be straight anyway when you're shifting. But nowadays, right, we no longer live in the single clutch era. You know those Lamborghinis where every time you switch gear the earth shakes? No, now we live in the dual clutch era. The dual clutch era, what that means is that you imagine you're driving a Porsche GT3 RS. That car, when it shifts, right, you don't even feel anything. Now imagine this, I am doing a big bang turn. Okay, halfway doing a big bang turn, my speed is actually around 80. I'm actually relaxing, okay, and now I feel like doing something with it. If my steering is halfway turning, the pedals will be down there. But now if my steering is halfway turning, I want to do a double downshift and floor the throttle and kick my tail out a bit, or to just accelerate, I can do that. But if it is mounted on the column, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I think column mounted pedal shifters are incorrect. Okay, that's it.